Well, I first heard about CASA. I went to a CASA Light of Hope breakfast event, which was my first one-on-one exposure to what CASA was locally. So that Light of Hope event, that really brought clarity to the direction I wanted to go for my volunteer work post-retirement.
One point that got me was Spanish-speaking families. A lot of times, I come from a Spanish-speaking family. Mom doesn't speak English, so I kind of resonated with that and say, hey, I can also help translate and talk to the parents in Spanish and to the children and make that connection even more greater. So that's kind of one of the things that drew me to CASA as well.
I was at a vacation Bible school, right? And I took my son there, and there's a whole bunch of people there. But I heard this conversation across the room talking about foster kids. And I've been a detention minister for 2 years prior to that. And I just thought, that's speaking to me. That's right down my alley. So I went over and asked that lady to find out what it is. And 9.5 years later, here I am.
Amanda has been very consistent in her support of me as a volunteer, and in turn, the children that are involved in my cases. Her availability is one of the biggest aspects of the benefit that she brings. She's always available, no matter how many cases she has, or no matter what the situation is. She's been very helpful providing guidance. So having somebody like Amanda as my supervisor specifically, somebody that you can talk to about any part of this case, about any aspect of the case, any person or any stakeholder, is very beneficial. And I appreciate the support that she provides on a consistent basis.
I would say it's important because a lot of times these children can feel neglected or feel like they have no one else. They've been removed from their parents. So to them, that's kind of like, hey, I got nobody else. May not have contact with my parent, or they may feel alone. So to me, it's important because they need someone else there to help them. They need a constant person there to help them and be on their side and offer those services that they desperately need as well. And it's very rewarding to see parents when the judge tells them, hey, we're going to return the child goes back to you. You've made all the changes, the necessary adjustments to make, to allow your child to go back. You can see that weight lifted off of their shoulders, the smiles, everybody's happy. They can take their child back home. So I think that's the most rewarding part, when you see the families reunited and they can all go back home.
Hola, buenas tardes. Soy Raiza Molina y quiero darle las gracias a Francisco. Francisco, le doy las gracias porque usted me ayudó mucho en lo que yo necesitaba. Preguntaba por mis niños, cómo estaban. Fue una experiencia muy bonita que usted compartiera con nosotros. Y agradecerle mucho porque siempre que yo le llamaba, siempre estaba contestándome los mensajes. Llegaba a mi casa muy contento, muy feliz para ayudarlos, a mí y a mis hijos. Y le doy mil gracias y muchas bendiciones para su familia y para usted. Y que Dios me lo bendiga grandemente. Aquí mi hija le va a dar las gracias también.
Gracias, Francisco, por ayudarnos y darnos buenos consejos con mi familia, y por preguntarme cómo estaba y que le ayudara a mi mamá en la casa y todo eso.
Well, thank you very much for sharing. Yes, I did help her. Yeah, I remember going and spending a few hours with the family and just helping them out. So yeah, thank you for sharing that.
I can, and I often go back to this example, as it was the first case that I was assigned to about 4 years ago. And it was a 3-year-old girl, and I was involved with this case for about 8 months. So as odd as it sounds, I was part of this child's life, one way or another, for nearly 20% of her life. And each of the home visits, supervised or otherwise, that I had, my focus was always on her. Very comforting to have a 3-year-old know that I was there for her and for only her each time that she saw me. It's rewarding to know that I, the CASA volunteer, is part of the ongoing process, that hopefully we can make that smile, that laugh, that having fun be more of a long-term sustainable solution as we work through the case.
But one of the best things about Gary is his big heart, which is shown through the dedication and the amount of attention he gives every child in case that he has advocated for. His ability to make connections with the children and family members and their willingness to open up to him and share the good, the bad, and the ugly is a testament to why Gary is such an amazing advocate.
I would say significant impact, yes. So I would say my very first case, I had a child that was pretty much aging out of the system. And from that point, I kind of had that aha moment that why I was important to advocacy was when I was helping him, navigate through life. He was asking, questions about jobs. What do I do in this case if I'm having this issue, if I'm needing an apartment, if I'm needing this, helping them navigate through those real life scenarios that a lot of times younger kids don't. I think that's kind of where it hit me. Is like, hey, they need someone here to guide them and be that mentor for that older youth. So that's kind of where I kind of was like, hey, I'm making a difference for somebody and helping them.
I think every kid I work with has an impact on me, because if you take yourself out of the equation and only advocate for the child, you learn a lot more than what you think. You learn to look at a different perspective outside of what you even believe. If you can't advocate outside of your own belief system, you don't need to be advocating, because that's the true epitome of loving your neighbor, whether it be a kid or an adult. But that's how we can truly love someone. And that's another reason why I kind of advocate the way I do. Every single case. I don't mess around with any cases. I'm straight to the point, and I give 110% to every kid. And every kid I've had has told me that, that I've changed their life. I was recently, I think probably the biggest life change I ever helped a kid follow was he come into the system. The kid listened to what I had to say, worked hard, got out of the system, got married, and he's living a life. I mean, outside of all the chaos he had in the foster care system, because he took that information of working hard. I mean, I grinded that into him. I said, I don't care what you do, how many jobs you have, just work hard. And that's what he's done. And I mean, in the face of adversity, he flipped the script. That kind of showed me, look, this is what this organization does for the foster kids. It teaches them these things to where they can cope and they can do better for themselves. And that's how CASA impacts the kids. Hey, what's up, man?
Hi.
What are you doing?
Doing good. This is an interrogation.
I was sitting there texting you like thinking nothing was happening. You're just getting off work, man.
It's good to see you.
Nice seeing you, man. I should wear my suit. This is a success story I was talking about. I was the best man at his wedding.
He was my CASA. It's helped me out a lot over the years, and I was like, when I thought about a person to be my best man, I was like, that's the first person came to mind. So I was like, Glenn, you're my best man. He had no other option, and he was like, okay. And helped me through a lot of stuff and dealt with a lot of my crap, because I know I was annoying. The biggest one was that you kind of helped me keep moving forward. It's a big one. Like, you were kind of like that father figure that I definitely needed, that I didn't really have.
It's an honor.
It's an honor meeting you and having you.
I say keep doing what you're doing, because it's been working. And your work ethic first. And everything else will fall in place. I can guarantee that.
Just come into it, it's like you want to help somebody. Because kids like me, growing up, we're just hurt. And we don't know half the time that sometimes we may hurt somebody and not even notice it. We want help, We just don't know how to ask for it. And sometimes we feel like if we ask for it, we're weak and we want to stay strong because we're stuck in a situation where we don't even know half the time what's going to be happening. So if you want to be accosted, just think there's a person there in front of you that needs help, who doesn't know how to ask. So figure out and be there for them and then grow with them.